Have you experienced combat? If so, what is it like?
I haven't experienced combat. As infantry, you always train for combat, but actually being in combat, I haven't. So all I can do is go by friends and family that I've spoken that have, told me what it was like for them.
What was basic training like?
Basic training was unique. It was the first time being away from home, so it was a little difficult, but then with the people that you have from different groups, we learned to work together, and it made it easy. It was hard, but it was fun.
Do you feel as if there was discrimination in the military when you served? Explain.
Yes, there were some that were from the South, and people from the South at the time still discriminated for us, depending on whether your skin color, the way you spoke. Just like if you were from the North, people discriminated against you. If you were dark skinned, they discriminated. But then as the military, they had a zero tolerance for it, and that's what stemmed a lot of it out, because of the fact when you go into combat, you have to be able to fight with that person, regardless of their skin color or their religion or whatever the case may be. So in the military, I think it was the forefront for us getting rid of the discrimination. Do you have it? Yes, you have it. There's discrimination against females. You just had that new thing that came up about females in combat. That's in a way people look at it as discrimination.
Evaluate the relationship between African Americans and people of other ethnicities in the military.
Don't really think there is a problem, because regardless of the ethnic group, each group has a celebration that they recognize in the military. We always have a saying that there's only one color in the military, and that's green. Everyone has the same uniform on, so if you serve in the country, that's what we look at. So we don't look at skin color per se. Statistics show that you got to have so many Hispanics, African Americans, Caucasians, so on and so forth. But we don't really, when you serve with a person, you don't look at their ethnic background. It's not important to us.
Can you imagine the emotions that the families of soldiers felt when they received a phone call telling them that their loved one is not coming home?
That would be devastating regardless of who it is. Whether it's someone that's close to you or someone that you knew, for them to send them out to do better things and to get that message that they're not coming home is really, that's a difficult time. Can't imagine until you've experienced it what it's really like. That is something that, people can say, well, I can imagine, but until you experience, you would never know.
What are the thoughts going through your head? What is your view on the outcome of the Vietnam War?
Vietnam War. I was still a toddler. There could have been a different outcome if they had received the people that they needed. It was a winnable war. That's one war that was questionable. Did we win or did we lose? I don't know. That one I had mixed emotions on, because I think we could have done more for us when we went in, like now in Iraq. We're trying to make sure that they are stable before we pull out. And that's the key thing that we have to do, is if we go in and tear it down, we'll build it back up. But that costs us. We have to pay for that.
Let's see. What is your opinion on the current wars being fought?
Current opinion is war is something that you never want to happen, but in order to sustain our way of life, you have to. A lot of people ask, well, maybe we shouldn't have, but I always thought we should have. There used to be two world powers, the U.S. and Russia, and then it became one. Where now we're like the big brother to everyone, to where we always deploy to support them. The war was something that we needed because of the situation that was occurring there. Did we need to? I don't know. It's difficult because it's war, but at the same time, it's a necessity. So it's something that we had to do. in order to sustain, because you look at 9/11, what happened? And until you send a message that if you do this, these are the repercussions, then they continue to do it and it escalates. So yes, I think it was necessary, and eventually we will withdraw and hopefully leave it in a better place than it was.
Did you send letters back home? And so, what did you write about?
You try to write about the good things. You don't write about anything negative, because if I write about negative, the first thing they would think is, what if? And people always think the negative rather than the positive. But you always write about the positive things that are missing home. Can't wait till I get home to see this person, that person. We have long hours. It's hot here, whatever the case may be. But you don't feed a lot of negative in it, because sometimes people misread what you may write, and then when it's publicized to someone else, it's blown out of proportion. So they always teach us to be careful what you write, and try to be positive when you write. But that's a necessity. You have to write home, because that's what keeps you going. With technology now, though, they have the Skype, so it's not as bad as in Vietnam, where it would take 2 weeks for a letter to get there, sometimes 3 weeks, because of moving from location to location. Now you can go and Skype someone without a problem. So communication is a lot better. The system is a lot better for, the communication.
How did it feel to be away from your family for so long?
That is probably one of the hardest parts, and that was the reason why I decided to finally retire. You get to a point where you deploy too much, or when you're separated, you don't get to watch your children grow up, and you leave 1 year, they're at one age, come back, they're a year older or a year and a half older, especially when they're younger, and then when you get to the teenagers. You miss those, precious moments. 16th birthday, 17th birthday. So that was the difficult thing of missing that time with them. Because once you lose it, you can't get it back. And that's a sacrifice that we make, and we understand that. But, to enjoy our way of life, those are the sacrifices we make. Some people make the ultimate sacrifice, which is their life. We know that that's a risk we take. I was fortunate. I never had to worry about that. I sit here today. There's some that have returned that are missing limbs. Now they have to relive or relearn. They have to learn how to relive and how to cope with life, because now it's different. Mentally, they're different. So.
Okay, thank you for your time for South Buchanan.
Not a problem.